No, you're fine. You're fine. It happens.
Alrighty. Hello, Dexter. How are
Hi. I'm doing well, and you?
you? I'm good. Um, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That was a great warm up. I'm more calm now.
Yeah.
My name. Let's see. My name is Dexter Dale. I'm 31 years old. I was born and raised in. I was born in Gallup, raised in Twin Lakes. Uh, let's see. My clans, Tabahan, Shlanto, Higlini, Basichinsin, Jenny, Shade, Sunny, Dashanele. Um, let's see. My occupation currently, I'm a high school culinary arts instructor. Before that, I was in the food industry for about 12 years. I went to school for culinary arts, professional baking, so I have my degrees in that. Um, let's see. I have a very deep passion in my own way about metal music specifically. I have many inspirations and things that motivate me to keep going, and in the sense of being a vocalist. And let's see. I love art. I like food. Video games. Let's see. Uh, Anime. I like some anime. I've been an anime fan since like mid school. Let's see. I don't have a huge collection of hats. um, let's see. I draw. I draw. I write music. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm still wearing my belt high t-shirt. So that works. But anyway, it's besides the point.
So first things first, how did you become Hellthorn's vocalist? Did they choose you or did you choose them?
It was through a project that took maybe about 6 months
Hmm.
to put together. It was just an idea. I tried slipping things and ideas into Dave's head, which he is currently my sister's husband, so kind of got lucky there. My sister started dating a musician, and then I just put in ideas and thoughts in the form of like, hey, if you guys need help, I don't mind. I'm not doing anything. And then Dave sent me an instrumental, and then it took me about 2 months to put lyrics on it. And after that, almost said Hellthrone. King of Death was born.
Hmm.
Uh, after King of Death was born, let's see. Dave invited me onto Hellthrone after I was just playing around creating art, and I drew the new Curse My Wretched Soul Hellthrone logo, the really spiky, prickly one.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't speak for Dave, but I think he saw there was potential in myself adding on to Hellthrone,
Hmm.
and he brought me aboard over dinner with my entire family, and I almost cried and shit my pants. I shit my pants. So that it was a very interesting journey and story of how all that was birthed. But if you want detail about it, just let me know. I'll go into detail. But that was the most simple form of how it happened. I just got lucky.
Would you say the Sanguisa Segobak show was your first show or your first live performance with them?
It was my very first show ever. It was my very first show performing on stage for people. Uh, in general, the only I think before that, the only people I've ever performed in front of was probably, well, actually, my lady, Dave, my sister, my brother, and my mom once. Um, over karaoke, but Sugu Sengbog was my first show ever, and that show really set the standard of my overall performance and my personal goals of how to be a frontman and vocalist. which it was an incredible show. It was amazing. I liked it a lot.
So would you say like probably April of this year was when you joined Health Run?
Somewhere around there, or it could have been April. I can't remember specifically when. I know someone does, but I can't. I just know I've joined Health Run this year, early in the year. And yeah, it was early this year. So I haven't been with Health Run for no more than a year. And it's been fun so far. I never knew bands were a lot of work. And it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work.
What are some things you enjoy about being a vocalist?
Influencing people. Making connections, establishing bridges, relationships with people. Let's see. Creating new sounds and just overall making scary sounds sound cool on instruments. Or I mean on instrumentals. But definitely influence and like I said before, it's just when people come up to you and talk to you about it, or even just message you and just they give you their gratitude in a way what they say without saying sometimes, or even they'll just be straightforward and be like, dude, you inspire me. I'm like, oh dude, thank you. That's means a lot. And then my students as well, like I think we should fill in the people real quick about we did have this interview without recording, so we're trying to repeat. But it's okay. It's okay. We're making progress right now. We're moving forward. So this is I like this. I'm definitely more calm now than before. So I'm more.
Yeah. I was stressing about these questions.
Yeah, I have my concepts and everything in line, so it's good. It was a good warm up. But like I said, I was saying earlier, influencing people, they'll reach out, they'll ask for tips, and when I'm at work, my students, some of them would find out. I don't like to tell them, but they'll find out through family members, or they'll try and find me on Instagram. It kind of turned into a little hunt. Some of them will be like, "Hey, can you find Chef?" And some of them try because I don't go by my name on there, and some of them find me and they'll see videos and stuff, and then they'll ask me how I make these noises. And during class, I'll be teaching. Well, I'm supposed to be teaching. I'll have students reading from the book, and then I'll have a small group here trying to do false chords. And it's like I said, it's like a little choir, like a little death metal choir group, and everyone's just trying to get the fundamentals down. And then everyone wants to join in sometimes, not everyone though, but it's interesting. It's interesting. All these students are different in how they like look up to you, and that's probably what really gets me the most is influencing people. And I understand that I won't be everyone's cup of tea, but that's okay. That's the beauty of music, is there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
And those who do enjoy the art I put out and of Health Throne as well, it's really cool when you get to connect with them and just have a conversation. Just be like, hey, how was your day? You like ice cream or something? You know, I really like reaching out to the people when they want to talk. Like I won't force someone to talk, but when they want to, that's like one of my favorite things is just meeting fans. They're really cool.
And do you take any steps as to caring for your voice? Like, do you avoid cigarettes? Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thought about trying cigarettes because some people would tell me that smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee really made your voice more heavy, I guess. but I haven't tried it because I just do so much talking in a day. I think that's where I kind of get the little exercise by teaching certain content 6 times over and over every 5 times a day,
Yeah.
depending if we have holidays or something. But um, it's a it's a challenging task, really, by for caring for your voice as a vocalist, because healing when you destroy your or just damage your voice after a performance, because I
Mhm.
kind of get a little too passionate sometimes, and I'll be in my mind, I'll be saying something on the mic, and I'll be like, hey, what if I push it just a little bit more, because I'm really feeling it. It's really hard to like hold back sometimes, and sometimes I'll crack. I'm like, oh damn, or I'll feel something go, you know what I mean? Like it'll like
Yeah.
after the performance, I'm like, fuck, I did something again. Or even just talking at school all day, like I said, teaching content over and over and over 6 times a day. It puts a strain on your voice, because talking to these students, all the students are different. It's something I stress with them. Some students you can talk to more stern, more direct. Other students you have to speak more soft.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly changing my pitch every day with my students, and then going into vocal work after work, and it's uh it's definitely an exercise. But when it comes to consuming fluids, um I really like, I'll practice this like at 6 in the morning in my car going to work. I'll drink some coffee, but what I noticed about coffee is it makes me burp a lot, which before performances I try to avoid coffee, and I just try to stick to water. Carbonated drinks as well really mess with my vocals. I'll be just singing and carrying on a note, then burp, it'll cut me off, and it just ruins the whole flow for me. And
Mm.
especially doing warm-up vocals as well, just starting with a deep voice and going up into my highs. It's it's a process. It's something that cannot be skipped. It
Mm-hmm.
can't be skipped, because you obviously you would have to take care of yourself. But as a vocalist, it's like you're caring for two people. Not only are you taking care of your body, your health, but then the second person, in a way, you have to really maintain your voice and just learn how to take care of it by being self-observant. um Making the necessary adjustments and changes in your overall consumption of food. um Stress levels as well is what I learned. Stress levels really affect my voice. I can't speak for everyone. Also climate, altitude, learning how to breathe, and understanding inhaling through your nose is different from inhaling through your mouth. uh it's like a whole new language, a whole new language that you have to learn, but it's more of a feeling. And when you hurt yourself doing the taking the necessary precautions to heal yourself, so you start, and that's because I'm an impatient person. I'm impatient, and when I damage my voice, I'm like, fuck, I gotta wait about 4 days. And then every day I would do a little tester. I'll just do these little vocal tests that I like to do, that help me figure out how far along the healing process I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of depth and tasks required to maintain my voice because of the the style of vocals that I do as well. Like, just doing overall harsh vocals is very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, because I'm really new to it, I'm really new to it. What I noticed is that I do a lot of false chords, in that takes a lot. It takes a lot for me, and I can do, oh my gosh, fry screams a little easier. It's a little easier for me,
Mhm.
but false chords are more difficult. So for me personally, I can't speak for everyone. It's more strenuous on my body, so I got to be like extra careful with it. So yeah, that's what I try to do. And
So you said, like in our little warm up interview that you had a bottle of Crown before you recorded King of Death. Did that had
oh,
a effect on your voice?
it did. It did. It did. It had it gave me a lot of confidence. Gave me a lot of courage. Uh would you want me to tell that little story?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So at the beginning when I was joining Hell Throne, before I was put on Hell Throne, I was trying to nudge at Dave because my sister was dating Dave at the time, and then she was like, "Hey, I'm seeing someone. He has a show that he's headlining at the Juggernaut. You should come by." And I was like, I guess, you know what I mean? Just because like I'm the big brother, you know what I mean? And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's headlining, you know what I mean? That was just me at the time, but I was just trying to be nice for my sister. So we went, and I was like, holy fuck, this guy can shred. This guy can shred. And then it was really impressive. And then I met him and I was like, yeah, dude, you're pretty hardcore. And then I would talk to my lady. I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool. He's in a band. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be cool if I was in a band too. And then my lady's like, why don't you ask him? I'm like, I'm shy. I was like, I'm shy. I'm too shy to ask him. I can't just be like, hey, let me be in your band. I felt like I had to prove myself. So after I finally grew a pair of balls, maybe like a month and a half, 2 months later, I think it was his headlining show. Yeah, I think like 2 months after that, I was like, hey, if you guys need help with lyrics or art, I don't mind helping out. I've always wanted to try vocal work. And he's like, yeah, that'd be cool. We'll put you on some projects. And then I just remembered, he was like, these are the songs, these are the lyrics, practice them. And I was like, okay. I was like, how do they go? And he's like, we're on YouTube and Spotify. So I was like, all right, cool. So at that time, that's when we really got into karaoke. Like we would do karaoke before that, prior to that, but then we really started taking on karaoke. And I would practice about 3 times a week, just singing random songs like Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, a little bit of Jelly Roll, some acoustic stuff, some Post Malone definitely,
Mhm.
uh, and every now and then she would want to do, like the whole Grease Lightning thing, the whole duet. So we would try and do that, and I felt that was like a perfect time to really practice my highs. And then I started getting into the heavier stuff and started practicing more harsh vocals, like Final Episode from Asking Alexandria, Walk With Me in Hell by Lamb of God, Nymphetamine by Cradle of Filth, Cry of the Blackbirds by Amon Amarth, Sail by Devil Driver, Fury of Our Maker's Hands, Hold Back the Day, because I like those songs and I would just try them, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
they would just have fun with them. I would have fun with them, even though I knew I sounded like shit. It bothered me, but I just kept practicing and had fun with it. And then eventually I started getting better. And then Dave came over one day and I was like, yo, Dave, check this out. I'm gonna do Tell Slater Not to Wash His Dick by Bring Me the Horizon. And I was like doing both the lows and the highs. And he was like, dude, that's fucking cool. And I was like, thank you. So that's when I'm really warmed up and I have time, that would be one of my warm-up songs. Just jumping back and forth.
Mhm.
And I think I did Awaken and Wretched Soul for Dave live one night. Like everyone was over there. Like my sister, my brother, my mom, my lady. they were just like on the couch. And I think it was when we started getting serious in the karaoke, I went to Guitar Center and bought like a Shure mic. It was like, I think it was like $180.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought me a mic, and then I started playing around with it. And Dave was like, "That's pretty cool, dude." Then a month later, he sent me the instrumental for King of Death. At the time, it wasn't King of Death; it was just an instrumental. And I was listening to it. I'm like, interesting. And I would just listen to it over and over when I was driving, doing my part-time job. And because I did a lot of driving, I would drive for like over 2 hours for my job. And um yeah, then one day I got kicked out of my house. And then, like you said, I opened up a fresh bottle of Crown, pulled it out of the bag, and then I called Dave. I was like, "Hey, you need to come over, bring your equipment. We're going to record." So he's like, "Hell yeah, dude," because Dave lived 15 minutes away. I was in Twin Lakes and he was in Tohatchee. So he brought it over. We set it up, and they already knew I was buzzing. I was like, "We're going to record. I got this shit." I was like, "Let's do this." And he's like, "Well, good." Then we're like fist bumping each other, and then yeah, we did like about an hour and a half of vocal work, and King of Death was born that night. It was born that night because I was just pissed. And then the alcohol, again, it just gave me courage and confidence. But I noticed that it was affecting my hydration levels. At
Mm-hmm.
the time, I didn't know that, but now that I've tried it many times, not during live performances, but like at home practicing, it really dries out my voice. So I don't do that before shows. I avoid it whatsoever. Um, then Dave, I told him just take his time with editing, and he would send me the like rough tracks back and forth, and we'd listen to it, and I tell him try this, try that, what about this, and then eventually we came to a conclusion and both agreed, and we put it on Spotify. Then Health Room started like blossoming, I guess. It just started, I guess, blowing up. Like it
Yeah.
started growing, started building a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Health Room was incredible before then, and King of
Yeah.
Death, it was just an idea. It was just an idea that I was like, hey, I'll help you out. And
Mm-hmm.
then 3 months later, they invited me to dinner and in Gallup. And then Dave formally asked me if I wanted to be a member within Health Room.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was like it's like having your birthday, I guess, at the age of like 6 years old or something. You're just excited, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it's like Christmas morning or like Thanksgiving for older people because you got like all the food, or like Halloween for people. It just felt great.
Mm-hmm.
They gifted me with a Health Run hoodie with the Curse logo. They put the King of Death logo in the back, or the cover arts, King of Death cover arts in the back. Um, they brought out a little cake. It was all black with the King of Death cover art on top too. It said "Welcome to Health Throne." Yeah, dude, it was amazing, and that happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, don't drink before your shows. Just kidding, just kidding. If you do that, I don't care. But I can't do it. It's just it really messes with my vocals. Is what I notice is that's what it does for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it might help other people, which is cool. But I can't do it. I really can't. Yeah,
Well,
that's that.
sorry. While on the topic of King of Death, like what inspired you to write that? Because like some of the lyrics, like they're intense.
um uh this one it's gonna it hits heavy for me. It hits heavy for me. There is a family member who is the type of person that will, let me find a book. We'll pretend this stapler is a book. If you put your opinions, concepts, and thoughts of how life and the decisions you make are just your overall lifestyle, this person, right, family member will be like, hey, this book is the right way. You know what I mean? what you believe in is wrong, even if you talk to this individual with about like native tradition, culture, belief, he will tell you it's wrong. He will tell you it's wrong, and it upsets me. What I was taught by my mom, right? My mom's a really traditional woman, and she tried to bring me up that way, but I questioned it a lot. It's not that I don't believe in it. Some things I believe in, some I don't, because it's just me.
Mhm.
If someone's a Christian, cool. It don't bother me. It really don't. If someone's hardcore native and they believe in it, I'm like, that's awesome, dude. Like you believe in you and what makes you happy. That's awesome. I'm not going to criticize someone based upon what they believe in. And but this person will tell you it's wrong because it's not in the book. My
Mhm.
lady's a Christian, right? She reads the Bible every night. I listen to her read it. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Some nights I'm like, that was a little hardcore, dude. Other nights I'm like, that was a little weird. Just like the way things are said, you know what I mean? I'll put my opinion out there and I'll ask questions about it. I'll actively listen to her and I'll be like, why is it like this when this person was doing that? Why couldn't they have done this? You know what I mean? I'll
Yeah.
respectfully ask questions and she'll answer. And I'll be like, interesting, dude. And then she'll be like, I'm gonna pray now. And she prays to her God. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. I'm like,
Mhm.
it don't bother me. Believe in what makes you happy, really. And but this person, again, will tell you that it's wrong. Native tradition's wrong. And he would tell my grandpa that. And I'm like, that's not okay, dude. You're kind of a dick. And he he got me kicked out of my house. I know for a fact it was him. And when I was writing King of Death, something was coming together. I didn't know what it was. I think I was putting my emotions on in my notes in my phone, and I was just trying to speak something that I didn't know was there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I was hiding emotions, but it was slowly leaking out into something. And
Mhm.
I finished it that night and I'm like, oh my God, I've been writing. It was like, in a way, I was like prophesizing something. You know what I mean? I was like
Yeah.
coming up with a story and it was like, in a way, meant to be.
Mhm.
And I kind of wrote that song for him. And he talks about eternal fire, eternal damnation. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, dude. Is there metal music there? And he would get offended. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, then I would say things to upset him. We'll be like, yeah, yes, like Stain's cool. He makes some really cool music,
Mhm.
and he'll get offended and like it just it gets under my skin, and him specifically. And I threw in like the whole purpose of that is he talks about people like me, how I'm going to burn eternally and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm gonna write something in reverse because one day you're gonna meet your king of death, and tables have turned. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it was like that is because I threw in some some people might know it, but like historically, the Great Awakening, right? You know how
Mhm.
like the revivals on the reservation, they had those little tents. The Great Awakening way back when, I believe, oh my God, it was like 1900, the early 1900s, or a little right before the end of the 1800s. Um, there's this dude, Jonathan Edwards, right? Him and like a group of people would go around preaching the word of God, and people would be freaking out. Like you seen those videos on Vine way back when they'll like preachers would smack people with their coats and they'd act like they're possessed or something. You know what I mean? So he was
Yeah.
doing things like that, point out people and be like, "Hey, you're possessed. I need to fix you right now," and people would believe it. So I've read some stories and some stuff about it to get more information, and that was like the Great Awakening, was converting people to Christianity and like religion like that, and that's what the Great Awakening is. And in King of Death, I say, "This is your Great Awakening." The altar of suffering is waiting. So it's waiting, you know what I mean? Like, and then Jonathan Edwards wrote this whole piece called Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And then I quote that in the song, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And in a way, the King of Death is God, and he's a sinner in the hands of the King of Death. So everything was just flipped. And it's there's a whole bunch of pieces and concepts to that track that it'll probably take me a little while to explain, but that was overall my inspiration was a relative. That's how
Yeah.
it came together. Because it just got to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, in a way, I was just like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
he got me fired from one of my jobs, and so it was just that's how I came up with King of Death. Like that's how I did it, and so yeah, that's how it was born, and then the rest is history.
Do you have any musicians that inspire you?
I do. Um, Back in the fourth grade, what really drew me, actually, no. The third grade when cassette tapes were a thing still. It was like the end of cassette tapes back then. Um, was Corey Taylor when I first heard Wait and Bleed. I believe it was Wait. Yeah, it was no wait. I know why you. Oh, my is it Plague? My Plague
Yeah.
by Slipknot. It was on the Resident. Was I in the second grade? Third grade? It was on the Resident Evil soundtrack. And my uncle Arnold, he had that cassette tape, right? And I just love that song. So I asked one of my grandpas, and I was like, "Hey, can I borrow your cassette player?" And he's like, "Make sure you bring it back." So I was like stealing batteries from the remote so I can listen to that song. So I was over here like pushing fast forward to find the song, stop, fast forward, stop, fast forward, stop. You know what I mean? So I was trying to find the song. When I found out, I would listen to it on repeat, on repeat. And there's just something about his voice that I was like, fuck, this is good. You know what I mean? I was like, damn. It's just the way he harmonized and went into the heavy vocals. And I was like, holy shit, dude. This is different. And then after that, um, my uncle again, he introduced me to a whole bunch of bands, but he showed me Godsmack. And this was the Voodoo album. He showed me the Voodoo album, and I was like, whoa, this guy's got a sick voice. And then after that, Awaken came out. It's their second album, and I was like, this is nuts, dude. I was like, I like this. So I kind of went to a Godsmack phase where I was constantly listening to it on repeat. So Corey Taylor is one of my inspirations because it kind of set it all off. Like I was introduced to like hair metal, 80s metal, um, like Slayer back in the day, Exodus. But for some strange reason, it's just Corey Taylor's vocals really stood out to me. It's just the sound of it. So to this day, Corey Taylor's like one of my vocal idols and just how he is as a person. And I like watching his interviews, listening to podcasts that mention him. Then in the ninth grade, uh, I kind of like I'm proud to say, but for me, right, it's a great thing for me. I discovered Lamb of God in FYE, I think in Washington. Is it Washington? I don't know. It was this big mall. I went on this school trip, and I found the live Philadelphia album. I bought it because the album looked cool because it had that bird on it.
Mhm.
I was like, this looks cool. I'm gonna buy it. And then instantly fell in love with the Laid to Rest song. Laid to Rest became my ultimate favorite track.
Mhm.
And that's when I had a CD player. During that trip, my uncle, because like I only had like one CD at the time, it was like System of Down Toxicity. And two. And Metallica's like Into the Sandman album. Well, that's all black with a little snake on it. I think it's the Black album, I guess. I had those two CDs. That was it. And I asked my uncle Arnold again. I was like, "Hey, I'm going on a trip. Can I borrow a CD?" And he had this big old stack of CDs in his room. And he was like, "Yeah, of course you can. And he's like, which one? And I was like, he had a 6 feet under one because I seen it. I'm like, that one looks nuts. That's when their eyes like all bulged, like in the little paper thingy. I was like,
Yeah.
that's kind of wild, dude. Then he had a Job for a Cowboy one, the Atonement album. Then I seen the Nymphetamine album by Cradle of Filth, and I was like, that picture looks cool. Let me borrow that one. So he gave me the album, and I took it on my trip, and I would just listen to it over and over and over. And then that's when like Mother of Abomination became one of my favorite tracks. Obvious Nymphetamine, the Nymphetamine Fix, Coffin Fodder, Gilded Cunts. And I was just like, this is hardcore, dude. And that's when he introduced me to Danny Filth. His vocal. So Danny Filth, Corey Taylor, then Randy Blythe. I was like, man, these guys are hardcore. And he was just slowly introducing me to this music. And then after that, like I knew Marilyn Manson at the time, but I really liked, he was kind of like a musician. I was not necessarily on the back burner, but he was. I really liked his vocals. Like he would just sing, then he'd go, you know what I mean? Like he does all those like weird little grungy, pasty sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really liked it. And so Marilyn Manson, and then I believe I was a freshman in high school when I heard The Crusade for the first time by Trivium. I was like, this is a hardcore song, even though there's like no vocals. And then that's when I first heard you know, when we would have to like watch MTV and listen to the radio to like hear your favorite song. The anthem by Trivium. When I first heard it, I was a freshman, and I was like, holy shit, this guy has some hardcore vocals. I really like this. So Matt Heafy is like one of my inspirations to doing clean vocals in a way. Like I really dig Catastrophe off of What the Dead Man Say. That album. Let's see who else. Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Rob from Judas Priest. I really like his highs. He's just killer. He's a killer. And then Mr. Flynn from Machine Head. He was the only musician that made me cry during a live set, dude. Like when I heard Darkness Within for the second time, the first time I was like, wow. And then the second time when I heard it, it made me cry because like I just like couldn't relate to his story and everything like that. It was just hardcore. It was really touching. So he's also one of my inspirations. But with all the artists that I listen to, I try to take a little, like even artists like Kendrick Lamar, Joyner Lucas, I try to learn a little from them just to really hone my craft in a way. Just to be a better vocalist. Yeah. Just I try to learn a little from everybody.
Do you have like a favorite song or a chorus that you like to sing within Hellthrone?
Oh yeah, Trapped Beneath the Surface. It always makes me nervous. It's slowly rotting, devour, never found. And then at the end it goes trapped beneath the surface, then dying helplessly. You know what I mean? That part. Nature's form of brutality takes another soul. It makes me nervous every time because I like doing that song with Dave because it's his song. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that song by myself because for me personally, it makes me feel like I'm taking his song away. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, Dave, we got to do this song together, dude. You're going to do some parts by yourself because it's your song. And I really like it when you sing your song. But at the end, he always makes me do that part by myself. And I'm like, because when I hear the Spotify version, I'm like, that's fucking hard, dude. Especially when the beginning starts, like, you know what I mean? Like it just goes. I'm like, damn, it just slaps hard. And the end of the song, when he makes me do it by myself, I'm like, you fucker, don't do that. It like makes me nervous. It's like a lot of pressure. I'm like, I better make it sound heavy
Mhm.
in a way that he feels like I'm not trashing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I kind of have to carry on and sound as good as him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's one of my favorite lines, especially when he does that. And I'm just like, don't make me do that by myself again. But he always does it every show. I'll look at him and he'll be like, he'll cue to me, and I'm like, like it's time, and I'll like listen to the drum because I know it's right after when Ro has to do a little type thing, and I'll be like, I'll take my breath and I'll try and hit the notes and just make it sound heavy and grungy. And yeah, that's one of my favorite lines. And one of my from King of Death, this is a message from your clergy.
Oh, that goes so hard, dude.
That one, funny story. I came up with that when I was sitting on the bowl, dude. I come up with a lot of my great ideas when I'm on the bowl. It's weird. I don't get it. I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, I got an idea. And I'm like, I gotta finish or something. And yeah, dude, I came up with that on the bowl. I was just thinking and I was like, how can I make this heavier? And then yeah, that's one of my favorite parts is this is a message from your clergy. It just I don't there's something about it. And when I perform that live, I really like to look at people just dead in their eye and they're like, the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? I'll just like look at them and kind of like a little death note to them, but in more of an entertainment sense, not literal, but that's one of my favorite lines. But yeah.
It's hard to take photos sometimes, especially when that song comes on, because I'm just like, hold my camera. I'm gonna headbang really quick.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Then I like let's see, We Are Here. That one breakdown part we have, that's
Yeah.
oh my gosh, can't remember the lyrics right now. Um We Will Never Die. I just do like my real low gutturals.
Hmm.
Then Ro just like breaks it down by half, like the tempo, and it's just a long, prolonged breakdown. You know what I mean? Like it's just a breakdown. It's like bam, bam. He makes it longer than it usually is. That's one of
Hmm.
my favorite parts too. That's like my favorite part of that track. But also getting everyone involved in the "We Are Here" part. But just doing those low gutturals makes me feel like, holy shit, we got a breakdown. You know what I mean? Like I love breakdown. And yeah, that's one of my those are some of my favorite parts of Health Run music. This is
Or what would you say was like your best performance with them?
with Health Run.
Yeah.
Tucson. Tucson during the Indigenous metal show.
Hmm.
I really wish Gallup was there. It was insane. It was just a room. The majority of the fans there were all natives. You know what I mean? So like when we did um King of Death, actually no. We started with Trapped. We started with Trapped, and I was standing up there during the intro, and I was like trying not to shit myself, and um we got started into Trap, and people were like, okay, these guys are pretty cool, you know what I mean? Because we were headlining that show,
Hmm.
and all the bands before us did a great job. They did a great job, but that was our best performance for me personally, because the involvement of the crowd. Like we had this. So you've seen the Wall of Death at the Bog show, right?
Yeah.
At Tucson, imagine that times three.
Mm.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. There was like security and a whole bunch of people trying to protect the merch tables and everything, but it was the Bog show times three. And I don't know what got into me because we did Trapped, then I think we did Wretched, then the third track was King of Death, and I gave a very small speech about King of Death and how it started and how I created it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna perform this down there with you guys. So I grabbed the mic and I jumped off stage. I went down there and everyone went crazy. And they're like, holy shit. And they all pulled out their phones. I was like, oh my God, everyone's watching. Well, obviously, but like Yeah, I was like, no pictures. And then it was I don't know what got into me. Like I went down there, I just performed King of Death, and this band, these guys, these new guys, they're called Thomju. They're playing at our MMIW show. Those
Mhm.
guys really got into it, and they're just headbanging. They really set the standard for the crowd. They got everyone going, and King of Death, everyone lost it, dude. Everyone lost it. After it was done, people were just like going nuts, screaming. And then after that, we went into We Are Here, and the crowd was perfect for that because we were all natives. And then when we did it, it was insane. It was an incredible feeling. Everyone was like yelling, "We are here." They did the chant with us, and they were like doing their like little war cries and everything. You know what I mean? There was a lot. There was like 100 people there. It was crazy.
Mhm.
It was nuts. And then after We Are Here, Ro did a little drum solo. He did a little drum solo. Wait, no, he did that before We Are Here. But anyway, after We Are Here, we did went into the Slayer thing, and then it was just I've never seen like so many hardcore females like at a local show. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm new to it as a performer. So if there were like 40 people or like maybe 50 people in the Wall of Death, 20 of them were chicks that were throwing down like dudes, and I was over here freaking out. You know what I mean? I was like,
Mhm.
holy fuck! Like if I was in there, they would have beat the shit out of me. You know what I mean? I probably could have been like laying there on the floor bleeding or something. But it was an amazing show. Like it was crazy. Like everyone went nuts. Like everyone was there's like this big giant 6'8" dude taking off his shirt, and then there was like these like goth chicks running around beating the shit out of dudes, and then there's like it was insane. It was nuts, dude. That was one of our best shows I felt
Mhm.
because the crowd, how we performed, it was amazing. So yeah, Tucson.
So would you say like the crowd's energy would does that fuel you like during your performance, or is it how well like Hawthorne gets along, or is it how you feel, if you understand what I'm saying?
I would say yes and no. Yes and no. As a performer, I believe I should always try and perform top tier,
Mhm.
regardless if people are vibing to it or not. And but it is fueling in a way. It is fueling in a way because it lets me know and helps me understand the crowd better and
Mhm.
what works and what doesn't work. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a yes and no for me.
Okay. And how has it been like performing alongside not just Dave, but like George and Ro as well?
Oh, dude, it's insane because they all have their own different personalities. You know what I mean? Like, uh, it's funny because like I do this thing with Ro during live performances. I always have chapstick in my pocket. And when he's doing his thing and I have my back to the crowd, I'll go up to his drum kit and I'll pull out my chapstick and I'll look him and I'll like put my lips out, you know what I mean? And I'll like put chapstick on. He looks at me and he starts laughing. And then George is like a beast. It's weird. Like George is on a whole different planet. With his like little devil eye going and he's like playing, getting into it, and he puts his hand over the top, and I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? I was like, that's hardcore, dude. Like George is awesome. George is awesome when he plays. Then Dave and I, we have to communicate a lot in the sense of how we're gonna do the track live, or I'll be like, yo, let's do this together, blah blah blah. Sometimes I'll even forget. I'm like, Dave, what song's next? I'll forget, and he'll tell me. You know what I mean? Like, then making room for Dave during his solos and stuff
Mhm.
like that, switching places with them. So yeah, it's just the personalities. It makes it fun, and I'm so glad we're not all the same. I'm glad we're not, especially Dave and I.
Nice, nice. Well, I think I got all like musical questions, but aside from performing and everything, I believe we've all noticed like Hawthorne's involvement with the missing murdered Indigenous women movement. Like share with me like what it means to you, and not like in a sensitive way, but why did you choose this specifically to get behind as an individual?
Well, for as an individual, my family, uh, we had a relative who was taken from us over 10 years ago, and no justice, no investigations, nothing. It was more so we were just told so and so was murdered. This is what happened. How would you like to proceed with, I guess, funeral stuff? You know what I mean? Like we need someone to come in and confirm it's him. And we buried him, and that was it. You know what I mean? It's irritating, it's frustrating, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that it was for us as a family. I can't speak on the behalf of, I guess, like people who handle this investigation, like investigators, the law, the justice system. I don't understand how it works really, like if they're actually trying or not. But from my perspective and my family, from the outside of investigation, it's an empty feeling. It's really an empty feeling. It puts you in a position where like you feel like there's no hope. Like it's gone. You know what I mean? It's just you sit here and you're like, damn, like fuck. Can't believe that happened. You know what I mean? Like you just have to live with it. You have to live with it, and there's nothing you can do. It's like in a way it makes you start to believe in the other side, something spiritual. It's like, dude, give me a sign, creator, tell me something. You know what I'm saying? That's what it does. It makes you feel so little. It makes you feel so little. Then when you start comparing it to the outside world, you feel even smaller. And watching your relatives go through, because it really hit my mom the hardest. It hit my mom the hardest. And just my mom was a single mother for a very long time. So my mom raised me, and she completely lost it in a way for a few months. And my sister was torn. My grandparents, it hurt me, but I took on a role without being told that I have to hold my mom together as best as I could. And I was just like in my early 20s, I was a dum dum, you know what I mean? I was a stupid kid. I was not the best person for my family and myself. And taking on that responsibility at the time was it was hard. Watching my mom cry like every day. It was just I didn't know what to say sometimes, but even just holding her, I felt useless. I was like, fuck, what do I do? What do I say? How can I make this better? And then, like I said, it makes you think about the other side. I'll sit there and be like, come on, dude, give me a sign. Something, someone help me, you know what I mean? And you don't know what to do. So that's how my family was affected. And in the most obvious way, it woke me up. It woke me up in a specific way. And I was like, this is happening. This is really happening. What if it was my mom? How would I feel? What if it was my sister? Like my little sister? Um excuse me. What if it was my little brother? Because I'm the oldest. What if it was my grandma, my grandpa? And um yeah, dude, it's really hard to put these emotions into words because you just don't know. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You just have to live with it and keep moving forward. So getting behind this movement, it felt like the right thing to do. It was something I've always wanted to do. Doing community service for my people uh, was one thing I've always wanted to get back. And the person who helped me write King of Death, my inspiration in a way, kind of helped me because I got to do this job where I was working for this church where I was hauling water for grandmas and grandpas all over the res, and I tried to service as many people as possible, taking on new clients. Um, Basically people with no running water or electricity, right? And
Mhm.
I hauled water for them for free. I didn't charge them. I didn't charge them a dime. I would deliver care packages for them, and I would do that after school, like my high school job, I guess, like being a teacher. I would get home, jump into the work truck, and start hauling water until like 10 o'clock at night. On the weekends, I would work, so I was really working around the clock. I was tired, but it felt great. Just
Mhm.
having these grandmas come out to you and say they're so happy, they're so thankful. Then they start the little rants like, "My son doesn't even come over anymore." I'm like, damn, that's funny, but that's sad. You know what I mean? Like just the way they say it in Navajo, just the context makes it funny because in a way, they're trying to make you laugh, but you can just hear the pain. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then because of that, like experience with my relative, I wanted to give back, and I got to do that for about 2 years.
Mhm.
I had to do that for about 2 years, and it felt great because I was hauling water to people from Twin Lakes to Manulito Canyon, Lupton, Vanderwagon, Nosh Chitty, Lukachigai, Say Lee, Chin Lee. I think it was like Black Rock Canyon. Yeah, dude, I was like making Albuquerque trips from Gallup like every day, like that distance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
After school, I was driving like maybe 6 hours a day, hauling water for people, making a million stops. And this is an idea I brought up with Dave. I'm like, there's other bands who do this, like Graves of the Monument. You know what I mean? They did that that song about the long walk. I thought that was pretty hardcore, dude. And then Testament has done a track for Indigenous people. Then you have Alien Weaponry, who really put their culture into their music. And then a lot of these local native bands. You know what I mean? I think it's
Yeah.
pretty badass. It's fucking hardcore, dude. It's sick that they stand behind things like that. Then I told Dave, I was like, we should do something for MMIW. Like it was an idea he had too, but then when we just started talking about it, brainstorming it, we just we're like, we should make a track for the MMIW community and the native people, and to show our support and help spread awareness through metal,
Mhm.
and just like to do our part to really try and reach out to people to hopefully that this like song will give them hope. You know what I mean? Like because you just feel empty when it happens to you. I have a few friends who lost siblings and parents and stuff to this, and it's the statistics to it are crazy because in in New Mexico, is it New Mexico? No, in the entire U.S., Gallup is number six. Is number six statistically as one of the cities with like the highest missing and murdered indigenous people rates. You know what I mean? And New Mexico, in states, New Mexico is number one. And this was like, I think this was a thing back in 2022. And I was like, what? Like, dude, my hometown is number six in the US, but my state is number one. And here I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's nuts. And more than 50% of missing and murdered indigenous people with throughout the US, more than 50% happens on tribal land. So like people who are abducted, murdered happens on tribal land. A lot of these statistics is more than 50%. And it's it makes me think like, fuck, dude, like it's scary because it's like, who's next? You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
makes you think depth, like, because I have a bunch of native kids in my classes, and I'm like, I would be really heartbroken if I found out one day that so and so from my seventh hour class has been missing for 2 weeks, you know what I mean? And there's no leads. I'll be like, I was just talking to her about anime, you know what I mean? Like, or something. Like, it really hits home. Or finding out one of my relatives again, and I was just like, holy shit, it's nuts. And what is even more crazy is if you take 5 Native women, stand them side by side, 4 of them have been abused in some way violently. It could be sexual, domestic. Like, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. That's it's hard to believe. And when I think about it, I'm just like, I'll like go to bashes, you know what I mean? And it's full of natives, and I'm like, holy shit. At least like 80% of all the women here that are native have been hurt in some way. Like, that's crazy. Then back in 2016, 5,712 cases were reported that missing and murdered Indigenous people. You know what I mean? Like, there were 5,712 cases, and only 116 were logged out of all that. That's a very small percentage to a large number like that. And with We Are Here, it was just our way to help spread awareness. Like, it wasn't meant for us to try and blow up. It was because we wanted to do it. And then we came up with the idea, United Through Metal, this like little show that we have where we try to play show for people. So it's in the title, we're united through metal. Like, it's hard to explain in depth further than that. We're united through metal. And what we do in Hell Throne is that all our ticket proceeds that when we do these shows, we donate 100% of all our ticket sales to an MMIW org. And our first show we did in Crown Point, New Mexico, with Graves, not Graves. Oh my God,
Mutilated, Wicked Metal.
Yes, I was like the people who went to Finland. I was like, we did it with Mutilated. We did it with War Motor, Testify, Wicked Meadows, ourselves. Who else? I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. And we had Mutilated headline that show. And from that show alone, we raised over $500. And we weren't able to do this without the help of Navajo Technical University. They sponsored the show. At the door, when you showed up with your ticket or paid at the door, you got a free United Through Metal t-shirt. So it's like, almost in a way, like if we were giving away free tour shirts, you know what I mean? So it said United Through Metal, had the handprint. In the back, it had the bands, the sponsors. And it was hardcore for NTU to do that for us and to help us out. And after that, it just started rolling. We're like, we should do this again. So we want to do it like once a year, but we did it already once this year, but we're going to do it a second time. You know what I mean? And we're doing this in Gallup. And we feel like we're going to get a better outcome, meaning more funds for the MMIW community, like missing and murdered Indigenous women and people and relatives. It's like, if you're trans or a part of the LGBTQ community and you're affected by this, like, we stand with that. You know what I mean? Because in the end, as long as you have Indigenous blood running through your veins, like, you know what I mean? Like, we rock with you. And with this new show coming up in Gallup, we're expecting a really big turnout, which makes us super happy because we're like, 500 was an unexpected turnout for us, because we're like, dude, this is Crown Point, it's the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know if anyone's gonna show up. So I was like, dude, I'd be happy if we made at least $100, but we ended up hitting 5, and that was a small community. Then now that we're in Gallup, I'm hoping to sell out the juggernaut, you know what I mean? And just all that money goes to MMIW. and all that money is going to be used toward finding our missing relatives. You know what I'm saying? Bringing some sort of justice, and it's exciting. And our little flyers, it's really exciting because we have Ocean Harvest headlining that, and they just got back from Japan. We got Graves of the Monument, us, and this young band Thamju from Tucson, War Motor, I Don't Conform, and the Guardians, all indigenous bands, dude. Like, I think I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, it's fine. Like, I think this is gonna be Gallup's biggest, heaviest show of the year, and so getting behind this movement was a big thing for us, and it means a lot to us. It really does. So that's why when we perform, where's it at? We wear these, like, you know, those grandma scarves.
Yeah, the Sani scarf.
Yeah, those, dude. Like, we wear those, like, represent it in a way.
Yeah,
It's become our thing. It's become our thing, and we're proud of it. We really are. So that's kind of why.
What about like as Hellthrone as a whole? How does George feel about it? I noticed that he's not.
George is all for it. George loves it. He really does. George is, from what I've observed about George is a spiritual person. He doesn't necessarily talk about it, but George is with it. Like, he has no negative feelings about it. He's all for the support like that. He'll talk to fans about it, and just people love George. George is George. He's our adopted uncle. We're trying to get George a CIB. Yeah, George is all for it, dude. George loves it.
Do you plan on like future shows with like in the following year with United Through Metal?
Yeah, so November 11th is our next United Through Metal show. We gave it a theme called The Emergence, because after our success with the show in Crown Point, that was just United Through Metal. The Emergence is kind of like the beginning of a big idea we have planned for United Through Metal. So it's going to grow, and we plan to do something better every year. So our theme is the emergence, the uprising. So on the flyer, we have those like little native people on the silhouette, on the little rock. And it's kind of like the uprising in a way. It's like the beginning of some sort of justice, some sort of hope, saviors, you know what I'm saying? Just things like that. So November 11th, Juggernaut, Gallup, New Mexico. That's our next United Through Metal show, 1 week before the Navajo Nation Metal Fest.
Hell yeah. Well, I think I've asked like about all the questions that I had, but I did get from like 2 fans, if you're open to answering them. Oh,
for sure. I'm all for it.
So I got Ruben of 6 Million Dead. He asks, he asked, when can we tour together?
Oh my fucking god, dude. All right, little story, right? When we showed up to the pub rock live show in Phoenix, I'm native, so there's no such thing as Glendale, Scottsdale. It's all Phoenix. He was like chilling at a table by the bar. I was over here sitting at the merch table. I was putting a table cover over. I was like, I froze. I was like, then my lady was like, what are you doing? Hurry up. And I was like, dude, the guy from 6 Million Dead's right there. And then like, this is right. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, he's right fucking there. I was like, have you heard this guy? And like, you know what? I was like, have you heard 6 Million Dead? And then she's like, yeah, I have. You showed me. I'm like, you're going to do great. You know what I mean? She was like trying to hype me up. And I'm like, I was over here like shaking. I was like, dude, these guys are heavy hitters. And I'm like, I've been listening to these guys for like a fucking year. And I'm like, I never thought that I'd be in the same room with them. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, it took me back to like high school. Like, you know how Bullet for My Valentine way back then was like the thing?
Yeah.
The thing. It was like, kind of like, they're not like Bullet for My Valentine, but it was like the feeling. I was like, what if one day they just showed up in Gallup and played a show? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? And so like the vocals just chilling over there, and then the guitarist is over there, and I was like, then after the show, my lady was like, "Are you gonna go talk to them?" And I was like, "I'm shy." And I was like, "I'm shy." I was like, dude, like, I don't even like if I shake their hand, I'm probably gonna have like a little bitch handshake. You know what I mean? Like if I shake their hands, probably all soft, like, "Hey, how you doing?" So my lady was like, "Just go talk to them," and I was like, and I was like trying to like hype myself up, and then I went and talked to the vocalist, and then what made me very happy was he was like, "I noticed your gutturals." I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, he listened to me. You know what I mean? I was like, he heard me. I was like, that was so cool. And then the guitarist came up. I went out to the guitarist, the native dude outside. I was like, bro, your hands are so fast. I couldn't keep up with it. And he was just so happy about the compliment. And then I really enjoyed talking to him. Then the other guitarist came up to me and he shook my hand. I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Then I had to go talk to the drummer and I couldn't find the bassist, dude. Like the bassist is like Batman in a way. Like, and then I was like, where'd she go? She was there 1 second. Now she's gone. And I tried finding her to say hello, but I couldn't find her. But I would love to play with 6 Million Dead again. Those guys are incredible. I sat there behind our merch table and just watched, just 100% observed. Like I was avoiding the feeling of entertainment and having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was more analyzing them in a way of how can I be better and be as there's a mosquito in here, sorry.
You're fine.
Um it's like how can I be better and improve myself to be on a caliber of their level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These guys are fucking crazy and like I was so shocked, dude. And then like after the show, I was telling my kids at school, I was like, yo, I got to perform with 6 Million Dead, and like 4 kids knew who they were. They're like, "Are you serious, chef?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it was nuts." I was like, I was talking to them, and I was like freaking out, and they're like, "That's so awesome! Get an autograph." I was like, "Fuck no!" I was like, I was so nervous, dude. I was like hungry. I was nervous. I was thirsty. I was tired because that day that we performed, I only got 1.5 hours of sleep
Oof.
because after work we had to do laundry, clean because the lady likes to clean house before we travel, right? So we packed that night. We went to bed. We were getting things ready, the merch because we had the merch here in New Mexico. We went to bed like around I think 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then we got up at 3, got on the road by 3:30, drove all the way to Phoenix. Um, when we go to Phoenix, I like to do things with my family. You know what I mean? Like go eat out or something, go hang out. And so we got there around 8 o'clock in the morning. We started taking care of some errands, picked up the new like certified Hellion t-shirts. Yeah, dude, like it was that day I was just so nervous. And the 2 hours before the show, we started heading to the venue and I was over here trying to dodge traffic. I was so tired, and my lady and I were like fasting at the time, so I was like barely had any food in my system. I was over here shaking. I'm like, I'm about to play with 6 Million Dead. You know what I mean? And I was like, those crazy fuckers thumbed you again, and I was like, dude, this and ends embraced, and I met those guys. I don't know how to say their name. Yeah, it's Avolation, but I met the
Abolition.
vocal. Yeah, yeah, those guys were nuts, dude.
They
Like the
were,
vocal Mario,
yeah,
his
he's
vocals are insane. I went up to him and I was like, "How do you fucking do that?" He's like, "Oh, I just open up my voice." I was like, "You have deep." I was thinking, I was like, "You have a deep voice, so it's probably easier already." I was like, "My voice is pretty high pitched," but then
Mhm.
yeah. So then just playing with 6 Million Dead, I was like so hyped. And after the show, everyone was leaving. I was just like, I was tired after just like 1.5 hours of sleep. But I would love to play with 6 Million Dead again. This guy, it was
Dude,
it was an honor.
they're badass and they're super down to earth. I've known Rob for like a good probably over 5 years. I can't exactly say, but he's really nice. He opened up for Soul and I accidentally washed my ticket. He was like, "Come down here, I'll give you a ticket." He's really nice.
Oh, we were trying for this United Through Metal show. in
Mhm.
November. We tried to get him as a headliner, but I think it was they said they have a show in California or Tucson
Mhm.
that weekend or that day. So we're like, fuck. So yeah, we were trying to get 6 million dead for that. And
Dude, that was sick.
it would have been sick also, but having Ocean Harvest too as well. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my god. So yeah, 6 million dead. They're hardcore, dude. Like I still fangirl to this day when I talk to one of my students about it. Like he's a metalhead. So
Mhm.
you like this song? We just constantly share the same story over and over. But I would love to play another show with them. So yeah, I was hoping to go to Ignacio to like play before them or after them or the same day or whatever. You know what I mean? Just to
Yeah.
be on the same bill as them. So yeah, I would love to play with 6 million dead again.
And he also asked, "How can I get merch?"
Holy fuck. He can message me, he can message Hellthrone, and we do payments through Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle. Uh Zelle's usually the easiest one because it goes directly to our little financial person.
Mhm.
And the merch is all right there.
No.
Uh yeah, so it's right there and we ship it out to you ASAFP.
Nice. Okay, and
Yeah.
then I have Jamie Silver of a local band from Albuquerque called Decolonize.
Oh hell yeah, dude. We're friends on social media.
Hell yeah. Or he asked like if you were to do like a four-way split record, like which band would you want on the record, including Hellthrone?
Oh, that is really hard to say because there's always a little something I like from each band, and if somehow like it's gonna sound weird if all these bands could like have babies and have a mega baby, you know what I mean? It would
Yeah.
just rip everything to shreds. Like I really Testify, they released a new album recently
Hmm.
and they just fucking ripped those first three tracks. Like they came out the gate swinging, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I was like driving back from Phoenix after our last show, and I was like, "Holy shit, these guys are going!" Well, actually, no, not our last show. I went out there to record our new single that's gonna be coming out within a month, and I was like, "Holy fuck, these guys are going hard as shit." You know what I mean? And then I really like Ocean Harvest Legends. I really love that song. Then like Under Exile, what was that? Make peace. How can
Hmm.
you make peace with what is not real? I love that song, dude. Like I love it so much that I try to analyze it and just like listen to his voice over and over and the cadence and the overall structure of the music.
Hmm.
And then like Thomju, the band that we're gonna have, I really love their potential. These guys just they have potential. They're on their way. If they just keep sticking to it and they grind it out. Fuck, it's hard to say. Then like War Motor, dude. I used to watch them when I believe I was in high school when In This Moment used to come to Gallup.
Hmm.
I think they were around then. And I used to stand in the crowd and watch him. And that dude, Aaron, the vocalist, I think his
Yeah.
name is really cool, dude. I'm like, I need you guys on Spotify. Please release some music. But they're on some other website. I can't remember. I just love their live performances um, and Graves. They really hit heavy with the emotion. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they're on their own spectrum of talents, and I'm just like, fuck, dude. Then Guardians, their live performances are crazy, just the way they sound, and dude. So it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because Then there's this new band called Forbidden Witchery. I know the dude Bryce,
Hmm.
and they have potential in that really nasty, grungy, toilet bowly, heavy music, like grave rust, almost like grave rust. And I'm like, dude, you guys just got to keep grinding at it, and you'll get there. And there's a lot of little detail I love about these native bands that's insane. Like oh my gosh, Mutilated Tyrants. I just love their style of tremolo picking. You know what I mean? Just like the old. It's you hear it a lot, but their style is different. It's different because you can't compare it to other bands that are within like that genre. Like these guys, they just sound different, and it's more. It's gonna sound all indigenous-y, but it's like they're like really earthy. Their sounds really earthy. And the way I can compare it to food is like it's that rosemary mouthfeel. Like it's just it lingers in your mouth, and their sound just lingers in your ear. It's hard to say, dude. It's really hard to say. That's a really hard question, but it was a good question. And I can't say it's hard. That's all I can say is it's hard to give an answer to that one.
And his last question is there a Rez band that you haven't that you want to see live?
Heart Museum.
Ooh, they're really good, dude.
Heart Museum. I've always wanted to see Heart Museum.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be Under Exile until I seen them at the last, I think it was Navajo Nation Metal Fest or something at Wowie's. Yeah, they performed there. It was them, but now it's Heart Museum, and it's kind of when we performed in Dulce,
Mm-hmm.
I think they performed the day before us or after.
It was
And
after.
yeah, and I was like, shit, I missed them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's my favorite song from them is Lullaby. That's my favorite track. And the Tattoo Fest, I think they're performing there on the same day. I can't remember, or it's the day before. I think it's the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but they're there also. But yeah, it's Heart Museum. I've always wanted to see Heart Museum. I just like miss them by a day or a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Heart Museum.
They're really good. Their energy on stage is like unmatched.
I bet, dude. Like I've seen their TikTok videos and their social media stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, some really good shots. Which you took photos for them. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, these are some hard photos, dude. And just seeing their videos, I'm like, oh, I really want to see them live. I want to hear Lullaby live. I don't know the lyrics, but I'll be like, what? You know what I mean? I
Like,
was like following it. I'll try and make something out, but I really like the ending though when Matthew McConaughey does his little speech, and I
mm-hmm.
love the intro too. And then when he gets quiet, when he's like, "I'm sick to my stomach," and I'm like, "Fuck!" I love that song, Lullaby. I've always wanted to see them live.
Yeah, well, hopefully you get to at the tattoo.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm trying to take off early from work, but I try not to let my principal know that I'm in a band. She's like, "Why are you taking all this time off?" I'm like, "Oh," but yeah.
Well, that's like about all the questions that I have. There's something that you would like to add, or is there something that you want to say?
Um, do what you
Oh,
love. Wait,
wait. Question.
okay.
What are bands that you like local music, or what, or some that aren't getting the recognition, or you get what I mean?
Yeah. That's not getting the recognition. Ooh, I would think this is gonna sound really corny, but all res bands that are actually trying and putting in the effort, they
Mm-hmm.
all have their own talents. They can make an extreme difference and impact on the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in a way like I mentioned, Forbidden Witchery. Those guys are like their music is just that that nasty grungy stuff. And yeah,
Well,
definitely.
well,
Go
I
ahead.
guess not I guess bands that you how would you say it? Like bands we don't really hear much of, or like they're underground. We don't hear they don't have a social media platform, or they're not on Spotify. You understand?
Oh yeah. It's that one's hard for me to say because I'm fairly new, you know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
like now that I'm becoming a I'm like on a low level tier for me, that's how I feel. A low tier of the Rez Metal industry like community.
Mhm.
I'm still learning and stuff like that because like I really like this band called Ray Gearin,
Oh,
the little punk band. Those guys are nuts. Then I think the Mommy Milkers are pretty hardcore too. I seen them the dude with the mohawk at Megadeth. I was like, "You're from Mommy Milkers!" Like I was all excited. He's like, "Yeah, dude." And, um, War Motor's on social media, but those guys are nuts live.
mhm.
They're insane. They're amazing live. Uh, let's see. Shit, dude. Like again, I'm new to this. I'm new to this. I'm still learning, so I'm trying not to make any mistakes right now within it. But I would think the majority, at least the native bands that are actually really grinding out to put their name out there, or even
Mhm.
the ones who are doing this as a hobby, they all deserve recognition. They deserve the spotlight to actually be seen. And even when given that spotlight, it could ignite something or start some sort of chemical reaction that really pushes them heavier into the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, dude, like native metal, we're on our own level. Like we can't be compared. We
def-
really can't. So like when people talk about uh let's use a common band, like everyone knows Lamb of God. We cannot be compared to that genre in a way. Like native res metal is res metal. It's like black metal's black metal. You can't compare other genres. You can't say Gojira is better than Behemoth, or you can't say Behemoth is better than Cataclysm. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
can't say that because they're in their own lane. You know what I mean? Like we're just doing our own thing. So res metal, it's its own empire. We're our own like kingdom and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's like we're one tribe in a way. So I believe we all deserve recognition and a spotlight in the future just to really thrive and put our genre out there. Res
Mhm.
metal's its genre. So
Oh, all
yeah.
right. And anything that you would like to add or say that I might have missed, or
Mm, do what you love. Honestly, do what you love. That's how I got into this. And it takes time, effort. It's exhausting, but if you love it, it doesn't feel like a job. It really don't. Um, I don't know. I guess eat your vegetables and drink water too. Stretch, go pet a cat and a dog. Um, and understand that time is a thief. Time is a thief. Enjoy the time you have now. Um, let's see. Yeah, tell your loved ones you love them because you never know that tomorrow might not come. Only time will tell. But I think that's it.
yeah, I think we covered everything pretty nicely. But
Speaking of cat,
thank you again for taking time to talk to me and also sharing your insight. Basically all my questions very detailed. It's
oh, absolutely. This was honestly fun. I liked
okay.
it.
I hope so. Like I'm planning on doing more of these, but I'm scared, and I also don't want to take Kelvin's shine either. So I'm just like
Do
trying to.
it. Not take your shine, but do more of these. Honestly, do more of these. Do more of these. This will take off. This will take off. I know it. Because
Okay.
you're well known. You put out amazing art with your photography, and your questions are really good questions. They're
Oh,
really
thank
good questions. And Do it. Continue this. For sure, continue this.
Bet. But again, thank you, and I think that's about it. That's a wrap.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Look forward to seeing you guys on the 11th. I'll be sure to, hopefully, I'm planning on getting new equipment. But I'm excited.
For sure, yeah. Definitely. We wanted to send you a formal invite via email to really like secure your spot and stuff like that in there. So
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
we hope to see you for sure.
All right, awesome. I'll send you my email, I guess.
Hell
but
yeah,
again,
dude.
Thank you so much.
Hell yeah. Show up early so you can get a free United Through Metal shirt.
Oh, cool. Will there be different ones? Because I got the other one.
Oh, this one's different. It's a brand new design, and we're giving out free t-shirts while supplies last. So got to get to the show early to get yourself a free United Through Metal t-shirt.
Sick. Alrighty. Well, looking forward to it. And again, thank you. Sorry, I'm saying that too much.
No, you're fine. You're cool. But thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, appreciate for sure.
All right.
Have a good night.
You as well. Good night.